you know that hydration plays a real key role in injury prevention? Hi, I'm Dr. Heather, your virtual sports chiropractor, and if you haven't heard just yet, I've created 27 tips for runners on injury prevention. Over the course of the next 27 weeks, you can catch all 27 tips right here on the channel. But if you want to grab the complete guide, click the link down below. Now, again, these tips are in no specific order, but we're going to get started with tip number 18, hydration. Now, I see this all the time on social media, and it almost gets me every single time, but everyone says, you know, that they're getting like cramping, tight muscles, or they're experiencing more soreness after runs and things like that. And they're saying, you know, what should I do? Things of that nature. Well, the first thing we should do is look at increasing our water. And you might be going, okay, well, that seems like a no-brainer. Well, for a lot of people, I think we forget that hydration is so important. And a majority of us, actually, I would say probably a good 90% of us don't drink enough water throughout the day. One, we might be afraid to have to use the lavatory or the bathroom, you know, too frequently at work, or we're afraid that, you know, we're going to be stuck somewhere where there's no bathroom, especially during the pandemic when, you know, rest stops and things like that were completely shut down. I think a lot of us were like, oh, we can't drink any fluids right now because there's no place to go to the bathroom. But again, hydration is one of those things that's really key and important in making sure that our soft tissue, our joints, you know, all these things are really lubricated correctly. But hydration will also help in decreasing that muscle soreness, that stiffness, that tightness that we're feeling. And it helps also too in making sure that the electrolytes in our body are really getting to where they need to be, which is also the other key thing when we look at hydration, is also making sure that we're getting enough electrolytes in. And that's why you'll see that a lot of those sports drinks are sometimes, you know, are fortified or, you know, have added in certain types of electrolytes to help with runners, you know, noticing that they don't suffer from some of these things like the cramping, the stiffness, the tightness, and can really push through to the runs. Now, something I always mention to just about every single person who's ever worked with me, whether they're a runner or just for fitness in general, but you know, after a really hard workout, it's always about increasing your water and increasing your protein for tissue repair and recovery. So increasing that water really does help in pushing out that lactic acid, which we've mentioned before in the nutrition section in these 27 tips, that we want to use, you know, hydration to really push out that lactic acid so that byproduct doesn't stay in the muscles, it doesn't create any more cramping, discomfort, increased soreness into our bodies. Now you might be saying, okay, well, how much water should I be taking in? Well, a lot of times we look at taking in half of our body weight in water. And for a lot of us, when we initially increase that water, okay, so like I'm 120 pounds, so for me, you know, 60 ounces of water is going to be pretty much half of my body weight. But what you'll notice is that by increasing your water as well, you'll notice some initial, you know, weight loss just simply because it's going to be water, which is, there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. It doesn't mean that you're going to dehydrate out. But what we're trying to do is increase our water enough so we maintain that increased flexibility, mobility, and elasticity of our tissue. So when we go and we do stretching, we can really open things up a little further. The other thing we talked about too, a little bit in the nutrition section, was talking about foods that could help in decreasing inflammation that could normally be produced within our body. Hydration is really key in ensuring too that if we have any type of inflammatory process going on in our system, that we're going ahead and again, we're pushing it out. We're excreting it through the urine. Just like with lactic acid, again, we're excreting it out through the urine. And then obviously we'll excrete it out with food through the bowel. So again, like I said, guys, you know, hydration is really key in helping in that injury prevention. Because once that muscle cramp starts setting in, and if we keep trying to push through it, that's where we increase our chance for an injury, for a tear, or, you know, essentially like a sprain, because maybe if it's a, you know, calf cramp, we could wind up then just stepping a little awkwardly and creating a further injury. So do look at increasing your hydration. And if you're unsure of how much water you should be taking in, drop some comments down below. I'm happy to give you guys that answer. And again, like I said, you can catch all 27 tips right here on the channel. I'm Dr. Heather, your virtual sports chiropractor, and I'll catch you in the next video.